start. I am so excited to have with us Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. She's doing some fantastic work in the coaching field. She's also the author of 4 books, and she's going to tell us a little about that as well as her coaching that she does. She will be featured in our special edition of the 20 authors to watch in 2020. How are you doing today, Dr. Jennings?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, we're glad to have you a part of it. And I was reading your bio and the work that you do and that you work with children and adults. Tell us a little bit about your practice, the name of it, what you do.
Okay, I'd love to. So I am the CEO of Remember You Matter Coaching, Consulting, and Mentoring. And that name, actually, Remember You Matter, is very special to me. It's something that was named in honor of my mom. Just living and from my own personal experience, learning the importance of sometimes in life we neglect ourselves a lot. And when my mom passed away, I remember that was something she always used to tell me is remember that you matter. And so as I started thinking about people and knowing that I'm not the only one who goes through that, there's several teens, veterans, just people in general who are forgetting how important their lives are and that their lives matter, especially with the increase in suicide. So that is kind of where Remember You Matter came from. And so the concept of it is I'm a certified life coach, but I'm also certified in mindfulness. And that practice totally changed my life. And I realized how so many people are going through life not really being present, not really like living and valuing the day, either worried or stuck in the past or worried about the future. And so that is where the concept kind of came from and where a lot of my coaching experience and expertise really emphasizes is teaching kids the importance of, valuing their life and doing the best they can, and then adults also so that they can see how to make amazing goals, plans, and really see their life propel.
So when I think about mindfulness, I think of it coming out of the Buddhist culture. Is that the same thing, or is it the same principles about that? Explain a little bit about what mindfulness means to our listeners.
Yeah, that's the background of it, but it definitely has just expanded. And the way we kind of see it is, I kind of value the importance of not like looking at it in theory, but really the practice of what it's practically for each of our lives and how you apply it. And by doing that, the concept of a lot of times when we deal with life, not really recognizing what our body is needing, how we are able to kind of function more appropriately, and just like if I woke up today, what is my body feeling? Like, am I aware? It's my mind, my body, my soul connection, and really teaching people about that. Like, we talk about it, but a lot of people don't know the benefit of having all that connection. So mindfulness is being present and being aware of that mind, body, and soul connection and how it just allows us to be alive, happy, to feel, and just to really like live our life to the fullest in this moment.
And so if there was one concept out of that a person should do every day, or if they did, it would just help them to be more in tune. If you can just boil it down to one thing that if they don't do anything else, maybe they should do that.
Yeah. So very basic. It's meditating. And what that means is taking time to be still and just recognize what your body is needing. And anyone can do that, and you can do it at any time. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take any equipment. It just takes you and your mind kind of settling down enough to like be present and ask yourself what you're needing. So that would definitely be what I would recommend everyone start with, that practice. It would help with time management. It would help with how we're feeling for that day. It would help with how we're interacting with other people. It just would have so many benefits of changing our lives with that one concept of just being present and being mindful and meditating in that moment.
That's awesome because a lot of times we get going and I know I'm guilty of, I roll over and I reach for the phone and I,
Yes.
want to see what important emails came through at 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, so it is important
Exactly.
to take that time out and to still ourselves for sure. And that's perfect, advice to give. So you've not written one or two, but you've written 4 books. How did you get started writing and how long have you been writing?
I have always written. I would always consider myself to be, I loved English in general, and I loved essays, but it was really probably in 2013 was when I started doing more where it became just a way to express myself. I was dealing with just a lot of emotional baggage and realized that the stress that I was having was like just starting to kind of overwhelm me. And so writing became something that helped with that. And then in 2015, when I just went through a lot of loss in my life, that actually became the first book that I started to write. It was Overcoming Loss, 6 ways to rediscovering yourself and moving forward with your life. And so by using those old drafts of what I was writing before and just kind of including where instead of staying stuck in the past, how can I use my writing to kind of pull me forward and realizing I'm not the only one who's stuck in the past. How can I help others? And so I just started writing as a way to heal myself, but also with that motivation of wanting to get it out there so I could help others. And so that became my drive to kind of get 3 of the books are more like self-help, and then one in particular I actually wrote with my children, which is my children's book dealing with test-taking anxiety and things like that. So those were where those kind of came from.
Oh, that's great. How was it writing with the children?
It was great. My children did the illustration, and so we kind of created a character. And so, because it was a period where, like I said, I had experienced loss, I realized I wasn't the only one going through it. My children were too. And so, a lot of us will kind of feel guilty about divorce, death that we have in our family. And so I wanted to have a different way to allow them to embrace it, where instead of kind of letting depression be something that overwhelmed us, that we could use drawing, writing, working together as a family, spending time together in a positive way where we realized we were helping other people to be our healing method. And so that became a really motivating factor. I have this mental image when you talk about what that was like. We did it around, a big chunk of it came during Thanksgiving week when the kids had time off school, and that was a hard time for me because Thanksgiving was such a big family geared event. And so because my mom no longer was here and I went through a divorce, it was kind of like that was my way of, instead of being depressed, celebrating it with my children. And so we spent that whole week like really dedicated to getting those drawings out, the writings out, putting it together. And so that is our memory of it, instead of it being like a negative experience, because it was the first year that that change had happened in our lives. So
Well, that's great. That I mean, to take something lost and turn it around, and not only internalize it, but actually put it out there. Because a lot of times we don't realize kids are going through the same things that we are going through as well when we go through loss, and they may not be equipped to, even talk about or get those emotions out. So that's a beautiful thing that you were able to do. Um,
yeah, I learned that from part of my coaching business is that I coach kids and teens, and so I think one of the most beautiful concepts that I learned in my journey, my self discovery journey of life coaching, because before I can life coach anyone, I had to learn how to life coach myself and understand those principles and see how it works. I also learned how to change my parenting style, and so I learned to become a coach to my kids and use that style of parenting. And I can definitely tell you, I've seen just, first of all, I don't, I don't do that holding on too tight. I'm also able to kind of push them and allow them to grow, and they're able to flourish and feel they have a voice. So that relationship and that style of parenting has really been transformational for me and my kids. And I definitely kind of teach that to the parents that I work with my coaching business also.
Good. That's important to know. I don't think I've ever thought of that being a coach. to your
Yeah.
children. That's really a good thing. So where
What does a
were
coach do? You know, a coach allows them to find their way, but they also guide them, and so that's what we want, right? We want independence in our children, and not for them to be dependent or feel like they can't do things. So that concept just really radiates quite a bit. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So we're in a new year and a brand new decade, and I just feel like an energy around 2020. I've seen a few decades come and go, but there's something different about that. And what if you can accomplish one thing in the decade that would be the most impactful? What would that be?
So in this decade, that's a great question. I'm a very motivated person, and even like you said, the thing that's standing out a lot for me in my life, even this year, is to flourish and to flourish in all areas of my life. And so with that, I definitely can see that there'll be a few more books. The next one that I'm really working on is just from a single standpoint. The title is single, satisfied, and successful. So definitely kind of encouraging more people to be another concept of being present and being satisfied where they are in life, wherever that may look, because a lot of people are trying to fill a void. So that's one thing. I definitely realized that I found the power in my voice. That was something that I can definitely say it took some years for me to find again, but just how powerful my voice is for change. It's authentic, and so I would definitely love to do more speaking engagements to larger audience where I'm able to just share my experience and what it's like to kind of hit rock bottom and, be able to rebuild yourself back up and not only like live, but actually thrive and still serve others in that area. The other thing that's very important for me for this upcoming decade is service. I actually resigned from my full-time job a few months ago to focus more on service and kind of being able to kind of work part-time. And so with service, some of the things that really resonates with me in this decade, and I'm starting right now, is to actually create a boys mentorship program called, it's kind of spin off my business, where boys matter to men, and working with men and kind of, there's a curriculum that's set up to help them learn how to connect with boys that are missing fathers in their lives, and also to empower our youth, to empower our men to get back involved, and also to change the attitudes that a lot of single moms have toward men and how this relationship goes, so that we can see some change and some success in all the lives that we have within our community. So that's one thing that's very important to me, and I definitely see that starting locally in my community, but being something that globally I can kind of spread and teach other people globally around and about that concept and that curriculum that I created. And the other thing that really resonates with me is also helping veterans. I'm really passionate about veterans that serve our country and that are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, the impact it not only has on veterans but their families, and how providing different means and alternative approaches allows them to have healing, to find themselves again, and also to kind of rediscover what their purpose is in life and how to kind of keep going even after they've kind of given so much of their lives and retired. So those are two very passionate areas that I have, and I definitely would love to see myself on either television or radio, just to be able to reach more people and spread that message and get more help for those communities.
Well, I believe that you're going to attain every one of those things, and it would be interesting to be able to play this interview back in 10 years and see how you spoke those things into existence, for sure.
Yes, my
So
words are very powerful. I definitely believe that. So yeah, words and then action. So thank you for that.
you're welcome. So we're going to wrap it up. Where can people find you? Of course, we'll have the information online and in the magazine as well. But for those who are just browsing and happen to listen to the interview, where can they find you?
Okay, well, I have a couple of things going on. I just want to kind of summarize it. I do have a podcast. It's called Living Bold, and that's Beyond Our Limited Dreams, and that is on SoundCloud. So definitely kind of look up my podcast. It's a very honest expression of me and other people's life and how we're kind of conquering our dreams and making things happen. The other thing is my website, www.rememberyoumattercoaching.com, and you will definitely find all the services that I provide on that site. Also, there's a link to my books. Most of my books are on Amazon. There are the 4 that are there. And then also with social media, I do have a Facebook page under Elizabeth Lee Jennings. And then also you will find my Living Bold and Remember You Matter coaching, consulting, and mentoring on Facebook. I also have Instagram, and so that is another way that you can find Remember You Matter coaching, consulting, and mentoring.
Well, good. So all we have to do is remember you matter, and we'll
Yes.
find you.
Yes.
Well,